Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Monday evening to you all. I hope you guys are doing well out there tonight and had yourselves a wonderful day. And I hope everyone has had a great, weekend start to your week. You know, it might be an extension to your weekend. Not sure. A lot of people had the day off, of course. But I hope you guys are doing well tonight. I got you a big time update tonight. We've had big time changes today, and it's good changes for most. You know, it was kind of doom and gloom over the weekend. I'm not going to lie. It was, not the best trends for a lot of people. Of course, this has maintained that historic snow look for a lot of areas along the Gulf coastline, and we're going to talk a lot about that, obviously. But my folks in the Georgia, the Carolinas, man, I mean, even Southeast VA, there's been some changes. And I mean, it started right after we were done with the morning video, and we have trended a totally new direction. And if you're a snow fan, you're going to like this direction. So we're going to speak on all the latest information. Just note that things are going to probably change even more after this video drops. So I do just want to let you guys know that, you know, right off the dot here. I've been sick all weekend. My little girl's been sick. I think my oldest girl's now getting sick. I think we might have the flu. Not quite sure. I feel like I'm getting over it. But if I sneeze in this video, I have to pause, stop. It might be a little sloppy. I'm just going to try to be a trooper. We're going to try to make our way through this. And I feel like this is a very important update because we have had those changes. If you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. And here's a quick reminder. The video will be broken up like this. We'll speak on watches and warnings first. Then we'll speak on Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. We'll kind of section all those states together. And then we'll have a southeastern U.S. timestamp. And so that'll include Alabama, Georgia, the Carolinas, even VA, Virginia, and Florida. Okay, so it'll be broken up like that. If you guys got anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, please put it in the comments below. I am extremely behind on comments. Have not answered one since Friday night. I do apologize, and I'm never going to get called up when I'm going to have to go through them. But, you know, for all the, I'm sure there's been some bad comments, but I'm sure the majority of them have been very awesome comments. But I really appreciate all your support during covering this system. You guys are fantastic. Just thank you so much for it. So let's get rocking and rolling. You might notice a pep in my step here. I'm a little excited, and I'll talk to you about why here in a second. But this is the latest watches and warnings. A historic storm. Don't let anybody tell you any different. This is a historic storm, guys. We got winter storm warnings almost all the way down to Brownsville, Texas now. We have winter weather advisories there. The entire Gulf coastline, except when you get into like the southern bend of Florida, is under winter storm warnings. Just unreal stuff. I mean, and I know it's kind of blended together, but I mean, there's a lot of cold weather advisories, extreme cold alerts, etc. But in general, if you're in the shade of pink, that's winter storm warnings. I mean, it's just crazy stuff. The thing that's changed today, I would say, is that you now have winter weather advisories up to Atlanta. No winter storm warnings right now. Winter storm warnings have been extended up to Macon. You've upgraded from a watch to a winter storm warning into Charleston, Beaufort, Walterboro, Montgomery, the low country of South Carolina, Allendale. The entire southern and southeastern half of Georgia is under winter storm warnings. And I mean, it stops right at Jacksonville. So the one county west of Jacksonville is under a winter storm warning. Gainesville, you're under a winter storm warning. Gainesville, Florida, not Georgia, Florida. All right. This is when it gets weird in the Carolinas. You have winter storm watches now up from Myrtle Beach, Wilmington, up to the Outer Banks. I think all these areas will get upgraded to winter storm warnings. We already have winter weather advisories up for like Greenville, North Carolina. Now, this isn't a knock at the fine folks in the National Weather Service in Columbia, but they are being stubborn with issuing any kind of winter weather alerts besides cold weather advisories. But, I mean, they're even splitting Orangeburg in half. I think this will change. At minimum, the Midlands of South Carolina will absolutely get under a winter weather advisory overnight sometime. By the time some of you folks watch this video, if you're tuning in from South Carolina, I think this will change. Heck, maybe before it's all said and done, maybe a warning. You can tell there's some disagreement between, and I'm not saying they're fighting. That's not what I'm saying. But the National Weather Service in Columbia and Atlanta, you can tell they got different thoughts on this. Because Atlanta has their winter weather advisories extended all the way up into the northeastern portion of the state. But that doesn't make sense with the latitude into Columbia, right? So I think this will change. I do. Fayetteville, I know you're not under anything but cold weather advisories. I think that'll change. Let's get into model guidance. Let's talk about Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi. And we're not going to spend a long time in this area on model data. we're going to spend a while on accumulations and stuff. But this is starting to happen now. We're already starting to get ping reports in Texas. There's stuff hitting the ground. So this is kind of beginning now. But just a quick run of the GFS. Not a whole lot's changed. We get this in motion. We take it into the overnight hours. It's like the middle of the night. Blue is the snow. Sleet's in orange. And then the freezing rain's in the pink. We just got a wintry mess going. The snow breaking out. Might start off as more of a wintry mix in Houston. Sleet. But then I do think you'll get that heavy snow. In fact, let's just go on and switch it to... I'd rather look at the Euro, honestly. No offense to the GFS. I'd rather look at the Euro because it more so supports... It more so supports the snowier idea that the National Weather Service is calling for. But here it is. It's snowing in Houston. Here in the next several hours, like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, it starts to snow heavily in Houston. And more of an icy mix once you get down the Texas coastline. But Beaumont, it's snowing. How far north is this going to be? But by the time you get into tomorrow afternoon, this is done. So let's back it up. And let's look at, let's just do this. Let's look at the Euro. The newest Euro is out. What is it saying? Here it comes. Snow starts to move in. Same thing. The wee hours of the morning tonight. Tomorrow morning. Light snow is in the blue. And then bang, we got an all-out snowstorm. I think there is going to be a brutal cutoff to the north in this area. For example, this is midday tomorrow, like around lunchtime. It is snowing like crazy in the southern half of Louisiana. But Shreveport, it's cold and dry and some clouds. Same thing with Jackson to Meridian, the I-20 corridor. How far north does the snow get? That's not me saying that the snow isn't going to get this far north, but I just think there's going to be a sharp cutoff. But once you start to get in the Bayou of Louisiana, southwest Louisiana, it's snowing hard. And then the heavier stuff starts to move into, Hattiesburg, Biloxi, Gulfport. Starts to snow heavily tonight, this afternoon. Tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to mess up a couple times in this video. Just not 100%, but we're going to make it through. And then tomorrow evening, it is snowing hard on the Gators and southeast Louisiana. It's wild stuff. But by the time we get into late tomorrow night, it's done. We're over it, and that's all she wrote. Let's go on and go into the snowfall and ice accumulation forecast from the National Weather Service. Let's start west to east. So, the Dallas-Fort Worth area, not expecting anything. That doesn't mean you're not going to get any flurries overnight, any light snow showers. It's very possible. Once you get down south, 2 inches of snow is possible. You can see some communities down here on the southern section of this aerial view. But not expecting much in this area. Definitely no ice. We head on down to the National Weather Service and the Austin-San Antonio area. Austin going for around an inch. Kyle 1 to 2 inches. LaGrange 1 to 2 inches. San Antonio itself maybe an inch or less. And then the ice forecast. A few 100ths of an inch of ice is possible in this area. I know it's kind of small on your screen, but not a high impact event. But once you get this far south, the criteria to meet for the criteria for winter weather to meet a winter storm warning is certainly different. And then we get into the Corpus Christi area, and they don't really have a new great graphic, but I don't think anything's really changed. Talking about 1/10 of an inch of ice, maybe an inch or less of snow. It doesn't take much down here. That's winter storm warning criteria type stuff. So not a big event down here, but it's probably big for you guys' standards. It's going to be very cold. Now, this is when we get into the meat of this system. National Weather Service out of Houston, surrounding areas. College Station, an inch and a half of snow. Conroe, 2.5. Houston, 4 to 5 inches of snow forecasted. Beaumont, going for almost a half a foot of snow. Galveston, God, it's crazy, right? 4 or 5 inches of snow. Over to Columbus, 2 inches. The further, pretty much the further north and west you get, the less snow. But, heck, even like south of Houston, Angleton, 3 inches of snow. Ice, a little bit of ice is possible. South and southwest and west of Houston, a couple 100ths of an inch of ice, but, not a big deal. And then we start to get up to Shreveport. I keep throwing you guys a bone up here. There is a potential that this could shift a little bit further north. But Shreveport right now, I'm not expecting any snow south of Shreveport, south of the I-20 corridor, basically. You certainly get into a few 1/10 of an inch. Maybe enough to make the ground a little white, a little dusting. Then we get into southwest Louisiana. It includes like Charles, 5. Basically, if you live in the yellow area, they're going for over 6 inches of snow in southern Louisiana. A half a foot of daggum snow, guys. That is just crazy stuff. I'm excited for you guys. This is phenomenal stuff. Cameron, 5.5 inches of snow. Pecan Island, whatever y'all call it. I know y'all call it parishes, not counties in Louisiana, but I know some people say pecan, different. I know. But 4 to 5 inches of snow. Morgan City, 5 inches. Man, Alexandria, an inch and a half. Not as much to the north. You typically don't say that, but hey, in this case, we are. Baton Rouge, going for 6 to 7 inches of snow. Maybe a jackpot area. New Orleans, maybe around 6 inches, going for 5 to 6. Look at southeast Louisiana. I mean, anywhere from 3 to as much as 5, 6 inches of snow. Gulfport, now going for 4 inches. They've certainly bumped it up here. Macomb up to about 2 to 3. Just Biloxi, same thing, about 3 to 5 inches of snow. I mean, just crazy stuff. I mean, Homa, 4 to 5 inches of snow. Thibodeau, probably the same thing. I only know Thibodeau because I chased a hurricane down there one time. But then you get on up north to the I-20 corridor. A few tenths of an inch of snow is possible, and, Jackson to Meridian. But that's the cutoff. And that's been the storyline for the life of this storm that I've been talking about. It's a brutal cutoff in certain areas up to the I-20 corridor. So, all right, we're done with that area. We're probably not going to cover you guys again. Good luck. I hope you guys get a lot of snow. But let's go on and shift to the southeast timestamp. All right, for my folks here in the southeast, this is where we'll spend a lot more time. So we've had some shifts today, especially in Georgia and the Carolinas. That doesn't mean we're not going to talk about Alabama or Florida. We certainly are. But we've had some shifts today. So we're going to start off by looking at the GFS, then the Euro, then we'll go through various short-range model guidance. And I just want to show you guys that trend I'm talking about. So we're going to start it for tomorrow morning. The first thing I noticed with the GFS is it has some light shades of blue here. I would not be surprised one bit if we wake up to maybe some light flurries, light snow from Georgia up to South Carolina. And, it'll catch some people off guard because we're expecting us to move into these areas a little bit later tomorrow afternoon. But let's focus on the main story. Start off tomorrow morning, light snow moving into southwest Alabama. If it would move for me. Here we go. And then we start to get into about midday. GFS, just really in this area, keeps it pretty far south. Heavier snow, Mobile. This is moving into the western panhandle of Florida. Not of Oklahoma or West Virginia. Florida. Look at this little slither of snow trying to break out across central Georgia. When we start to get into tomorrow afternoon, 3 or 4 o'clock, light snow starts to overspread all the way up into the upstate of South Carolina, heck, all the way up to Charlotte. Snowing in Atlanta, if this is correct. Now, there has been some mentions about virga dry air. I do think that's a possibility. I think it's a likelihood that we're going to have to moisten up the atmosphere, especially in the far north of the moisture field here. So you might see light returns on the radar when you look on your phone. You're like, man, why isn't it snowing? It's because it's so dry. The atmosphere has to get moistened up first. Once it does, it'll start snowing, and it'll accumulate pretty fast. But at this point, it is puking snow down here in southern Alabama, the panhandle of Florida, western panhandle of Florida, Mobile, all the communities. It just coming down. Heavier snow begins to come into southwest Georgia. We take it one more frame. This is tomorrow evening. We have heavier snow now showing up in Augusta, Georgia. It's just south of Atlanta. That darker shade of blue, that's heavier snow. It's snowing in eastern South Carolina. Snow trying to get all the way up into southern VA now. So we're mentioning Virginia more, so this has trended back inland a little bit. You got an all-out snowstorm ongoing in the western panhandle of Florida tomorrow evening. It's now the heavier stuff has moved into southeast Alabama, southwest Georgia. I would watch for a little jackpot area right here. We keep this going, and we take it into tomorrow late evening, 9, 10 o'clock. You got an all-out snowstorm ongoing in central Georgia. A little bit of icing concerns in the central panhandle of Florida and southeast Georgia. And we could have to deal with some icing concerns in eastern South Carolina. The more this ticks northwest, unfortunately, the more ice begins to be more of an issue of snow the closer you get to the southeast coastline. So I've said this before, it's like a civil war in your state. Because basically, if you're like in the further inland areas of your state of Georgia and the Carolinas, heck, even Virginia, and you're pulling for this snow to make it to your area, you're also pulling for more ice to be an issue over snow in the coastal areas. So it's a joke, a civil war, you're kind of fighting your brothers in the state for what's the dominant precipitation, but that's just the way it is with the weather. But I mean, you got all out winter storm. There is a heavy slug of moisture, all winter weather in the panhandle of Florida. Look at this little tongue of heavier snow all the way through Augusta to Columbia now. Okay, and we keep this going, and one would argue that this is all snow. The Euro shows it mainly snow, but you got an ice storm developing in southeast VA, areas of Florida, and it is snowing like crazy in extreme eastern North Carolina. The Outer Banks getting an all-out snowstorm. You ought to see how much they bumped up the snowfall totals throughout the Outer Banks. I'll show you that here in a second. And then we start to get into the wee hours of the morning, Wednesday morning, and I mean, you're getting one last hurrah with this system. And I mean, it is still snowing in like south central Georgia. And then by the time we get to about midday Wednesday, maybe a little bit of a wintry mix in Jacksonville to round it off, and then it's over. So let's go back to this, and I just want to kind of talk about the GFS for a minute. Okay, let's go all the way back to the run overnight. This is what it showed. Let's show you the run this morning. That's what it showed. The midday run. That's what it showed. Now the current run. Look how this entire shield of snow has ticked further to the northwest. And here's another way to look at it here. Watch this. This will be really cool. You can really see it here. You see that tick northwest? That is a solid trend for more areas to get winter weather. Now you introduce more ice into the picture, but that's a solid trend for winter weather fans. Okay, now let's talk about the Euro. The 18Z just ran, and it looks even better. All right, same thing. Tuesday morning, here we go. We start to get into midday tomorrow. Snow starting to move into southwest Alabama, Mobile, Panama City, Pensacola starts to get some snow. And then this is tomorrow afternoon. And I've talked about this a couple times on social media. And there's a lot of great weather enthusiast meteorologists talking about this in Atlanta too. I'm not saying this is going to be the snow jam like 2014. But what I am saying is this little tongue of snow getting up to Atlanta at around 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow. Watch out. Watch out, because, I mean, it is getting down into the 20s and the teens tonight. The surface will be plenty cold enough, so when the atmosphere does moisten up and it starts snowing, and I'd watch out for Birmingham too, it's going to start sticking on the roads before it sticks on the grassy surfaces, just like it did in 2014. But, you take it into, when is this, 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, evening. Look at that heavy snow in southwest Georgia. Look at this really heavy snow in the western panhandle of Florida, southern Alabama. Look at the snow taking over the Carolinas. And, man, it is just one click away from getting into some very heavy stuff into Columbia. Heavy snow into southern areas of Georgia, south central Georgia. More so ice in the pink and the orange. And you keep this going here. If you're in the coastal areas of the Carolinas, you're certainly more so pulling for the Euro, because the Euro says, hey, we're not going to have to deal with as much mixing issues. It's all out snowstorm almost for the Carolina coastline. Still the snow all the way back here to Charlotte. I mean, heck, if you back this up even more, it makes it all the way up to almost Asheville, Hendersonville. Charlotte, snowing in Raleigh, Norfolk, Richmond. And then look how it beefs up the moisture right here. Like, boom. Like, this is the wee hours of the morning, Wednesday morning, like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. It is snowing like crazy in eastern North Carolina and Myrtle Beach and Charleston. And then this begins to taper off. But we're going to get some nasty icing, maybe as far south as Gainesville, Florida. Wintry mix showing up in Jacksonville. I wouldn't be surprised if they upgrade it to a winter storm warning in Jacksonville, Florida. And then it tapers off when we're done with it. And I do want to watch behind this. There's a little low that tries to pop up, but we're not gonna talk much on that. But it's the same thing with the Euro, guys. Let's back it up. This is the current Euro. If you go all the way back to, say, this Euro, okay, let's go to the one this morning. Bang. Let's go to the run at 12Z. This is when it started ticking back. And then bang. That's a pretty solid trend. Now, I want to talk about this really quick. I can't get over this. It's pretty wild. This is snow at about 9, 10 o'clock. It's snow. Let's go about midnight to 1 a.m. tomorrow night. It is snowing, guys, in the mid-20s in the Carolinas and in Georgia, the upper 20s. So your snowfall ratios are going to be much higher than they typically are with a southern snowstorm. I mean, this isn't snow flying around in like the low 30s. This is snow flying around deep in the 20s. Some areas might be in the upper teens. So, yeah. Now, the NAM. We're going to work our way through this a little bit quicker. And I just want to show you, like, bang, there it is. Major winter storm, southern Alabama, northern Florida, panhandle Florida. And, I mean, look at this. Look how close this got. And once again, you look at the NAM from, let's do a trend, right? Let's stop it right there. And let's look at a 5-run trend with the NAM. Watch this. That's the same time frame. That's not in motion. Look how it's pushing to the northwest. That's one heck of a trend, guys. And listen, this is getting a lot of people's attention. Let's look at another run. Even the icon has came north. Kind of doing this on the fly, and I shouldn't have done this on the fly. But heck, even the Euro AI model, which is a model I haven't talked about much, but it's the model that kind of sniffed out this being more of a suppressed scenario before any other model. Remember, this model did very well. It did very well during the last winter storm for the South. And this is latest precipitation. And I'm about to sneeze. Here it comes. I've lost my train of thought. Anyways, it has been suppressed. So if we look at the last few runs of the Euro AI model, you see how it's ticked north. Now I know you're probably thinking, and this is just moisture. You're probably thinking like, well, this isn't much moisture. You know, a little over 1/10 of an inch of moisture. That is a lot. When you're talking about snowfall ratios, that'll be like 15-1. I mean, maybe 20-1 in some cases. So, you know, 2/10 of an inch of precipitation, if it's all snow in this case, could give you 2 to 3 inches of snow. But you can see that northwest trend. See how it's ticking like this? And I mean, this is even a tick for like Louisiana and Mississippi and Alabama. So, yeah, I mean, and you can look at the 3 km NAM too. Let's see. Moisture. This has came north too. I mean, look at this. It is now showing moisture all the way past Columbia. But it's the same thing. If I kind of get this in motion, let's look at the last few runs here. Look how it's dramatically shifted north. So we're getting some pretty substantial shifts north. All right, so let's move past this and talk about accumulations. People's like, man, that's enough, bro. But let's just look at, operational runs. I mean, this is the GFS, the latest run. It's now printing out over 1/2 foot of snow from the panhandle of Florida. For southern areas of Alabama, widespread 3 to 6 inches. I mean, several inches into the southern half of Georgia. I mean, guys, it wants to put over 5 inches of snow in Tallahassee. Several inches of snow at the Carolina coastline. Over 1/2 foot in the Outer Banks. But once again, these areas from Atlanta to Columbia, to Charlotte to Raleigh, really wasn't showing anything a couple runs ago. So let's create a trend. Same thing. And let's look at the 4-run trend with this. Look at this increase. Look how everything's increasing. It's just blowing up. I just can't get over it. It's wild. It's hard to believe as a snow weather fan. I'd kind of given up on it. And then you look at the latest Euro. Now the Euro and the GFS match. Both of them, for example, not match, but I'm using Columbia as an example. That's where I live, right here. They both say 1.5 inches of snow now. And it's the same thing. You've had an increase. And let's see if the Euro ensemble is out. And no, it's not. It's still running. But, I do wonder if this is going to be an increase too. And it does look like there's a little bump north in this. So we'll see what it shows. It's probably going to be a little bit better than the Euro ensemble from earlier. But this is the GFS ensemble. It has increased also. And once again, you look at the 3-run run. You see how it's bumped up? Boom, boom, boom. It's increasing for everybody. I mean, you're starting to even get a mean up here in Charlotte in the Greenville-Spartanburg area, Atlanta, Raleigh. It's starting to slip a little bit closer to like Richmond, certainly into like Virginia, certainly like into Norfolk and stuff like that. I mean, even watch the southern areas of Maryland, the Delmarva. I wouldn't even rule the Mid-Atlantic out of it. So that's one heck of a trend. Let's see if we have the rest of the Euro ensemble in. We don't. So maybe we'll go back to this here in a second. But let's break down the snowfall accumulation by the National Weather Service. Now, I expect this to change. So I'm making this video as of around... Heck, well, I need to check what time it is. I'm making this video at around 6:45. Okay? So just keep that in mind. They updated this around 3:45. Birmingham not calling for anything. You get down to Montgomery, I think that this could increase. But going for around an inch in Montgomery, Auburn, same thing. You get down to Troy. I'm not going to try to pronounce that town's name, but 2 to 3 inches of snow is expected. Not really expecting anything in Tuscaloosa. This could change. Now look at this. Widespread 2 to 4 inches of snow in this area. Mobile 2 to 4. I mean, if you live in the yellow area, that's 2 to 4 inches of snow. This could increase. Let's see if we have a new graphic. See if anything's changed. Nope. This is historic, guys. I have family that lives near the Pensacola area. They hit me up today. My sister-in-law, brother-in-law, they live down here with their family. They just moved down here, and I was kind of joking with them, saying, geez, man, y'all are stealing all the snow from us. Y'all moved like further south, but here they are, and I'm happy for you guys. This is one of those storms that really sparks an interest in the weather. This is one of those storms that you just don't forget. It kind of gets locked in your memory forever, because this just doesn't happen. Gulf Shores, 2 to 4 inches of snow. Destin, 2 to 4. Up to Greenville, 2 to 4 inches of snow. This is awesome stuff. They've increased it for, let's see if there's a new update. There is not. They've increased snow for, areas in the central panhandle of Florida. Going for an inch of snow now in Tallahassee. Monticello, an inch of snow. Up to Thomasville, an inch and a half. Valdosta, still going for around an inch. I'm telling you, watch this little area right here. Southwest Georgia, southeast Alabama. I think that they've already bumped it up. I mentioned this morning. Dothan, going for around 3 to 4 inches of snow. Panama City, an inch. I know I keep saying it over and over again, but wild, almost unreal stuff. And then the icing situation. You get an inch of snow and 1/10 of an inch of freezing rain. That's some big issues for Tallahassee. That's big issues up in my neck of the woods in Columbia. Perry, 2/10 of an inch of freezing rain. You're probably going to get some sleet mixed into this too. So if you live in the orange area, that's when you start to get over 1/10 of an inch of freezing rain. That's serious issues. National Weather Service out of Jacksonville. Jacksonville now going for a skiff of snow, 1/10 of an inch. So they bumped up some totals in this area. And it can change in this area too. And they don't have an ice forecast for this area, and it just tears my nerves up why they do not. So we're going to do this on the fly. I got you covered, guys. Because the icing scenario out of this region is not good. Let's see if we can do this. Let's take a closer look at freezing rain totals. That's weird. Okay. Yeah, so freezing rain in northern Florida. If you live in this darker pink area, that's Jacksonville here. If you live in this darker pink area, that's anywhere from 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch of freezing rain. That's a big deal. So, in Atlanta, props to the National Weather Service in Atlanta. They have been giving constant updates. Y'all are lucky to have the National Weather Service out of Atlanta. But a few tenths of an inch of snow, you get down to south central Georgia, I think that this will increase. You see this area, Macon. If you live in Macon, Butler, Hawkinsville, Dublin, Swainsboro, right now going for 1 to 2 inches of snow. But listen, not going to say you heard it here first, but I think that we could get more snow in this area down here than what they're forecasting. And they're probably going to bump it up if model trends continue. But yeah, so latest information from Charleston, they have bumped up the totals. Now, they do have a graphic saying sleet could cut down on snow amounts, but now they're going for about 1 to 2 inches of snow in Beaufort, Charleston, 1 to 2, Walterboro, 1 to 2, Allendale. In general, in that darker blue color, that's 1 to 2 inches of snow. But you get down to Savannah, down here, you could get, maybe as much as 1/4 inch of ice. So that'll be a big deal. Now, my friends here in Columbia, right now, they have bumped up the snow totals. Now, right now, they're going for just shy of an inch, about an inch in Columbia. So I know I got a lot of people tuning in from from South Carolina. This is where I started talking to weather on. And not sure why they don't have any totals in Aiken and Augusta. But in general, a little bit more further south. But this could change. This area could end up with more snow. especially with recent model trends. But in general, what they're going for now is about 1 inch to 1.5 inches in this area. And I'm even going to show some love to the Greenville-Spartanburg area. Right now, Charlotte, on the I-85 corridor, not calling for anything. But I'm telling you, you guys could get a little snow up here. In fact, I really think you will. But right now, not going for much. This is where things have changed. So, especially as we get further northeast. Going for about 1 to 2 inches of snow from Georgetown to Myrtle Beach to Oak Island, Wilmington, maybe a little bit more over 2 inches. Florence, only 0.8 of an inch of snow, but I think more than this could happen. I think that this graphic will upgrade and some more snow than this will fall. Now, you look at the ice graphic, they don't have an update with this, but we could certainly get a little bit of freezing rain. And listen, the high-end amount, 3 to as much as 5 inches of snow in some of these areas. And I think that's certainly possible. So keep that in mind. Now, National Weather Service out of Raleigh, still going for about 1 inch or less. You get closer to coastal areas, a little bit more. So Fayetteville, I'm telling you, don't, this is a forecast, but don't in your head say it's the final forecast. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And then look at this. National Weather Service out of Moorhead, Newport in North Carolina. The Outer Banks, you guys are going to get a special snowstorm. It happens every several years, I would say. But 4, 5, 6 inches of snow is possible in this area. Moorhead City, this is an area where they have really bumped it up. They have really increased the snowfall totals in this area. So enjoy it. This is going to be a good one for this region. There's an area that, you guys look out with the coastal system sometimes, but several inches of snow in this area. And then the last frame we'll look at is the National Weather Service here in the Richmond and Norfolk area. Going for around 0.5 inch in Norfolk, Elizabeth City, about 1 inch, 1.5 inches. But listen, this could increase. So don't be overly bummed out if you live in this area, it won't snow, because this could change. So I do want to go back and look at the Euro because we should be in range, see if it really did increase. We can keep these good trends going. Let's see if this was an increase compared to the come on now. It looks like it is. Let's see. Sorry about the sniffles, guys. Let's compare this with the 12Z. Oh yeah, increase. Look, this is 12Z. Watch this. This is 18Z. Now, you see the bump up? So it continues to increase. Continues to increase, guys. We are now up to over a 4-inch snowfall average around the South Carolina up the North Carolina coastline. So we continue to have a shift. I mean, look how the snow footprint area, it gets heavier and it broadens. So, man, this continues to make shifts, guys. We're not done shifting. So, not trying to get anybody overly excited, but at the same time, I can't help myself. So you ask, what has caused these shifts today? It's all about this energy you see in diving down right here. And I haven't really had a lot of time to really dive down to the nerding out portion of these videos, and I apologize for my people that really like that stuff. But what's going on here is, first off, this energy right here was digging better. But really what's causing this amping up of moisture for really the Southeast, Georgia and the Carolinas, is this little feature right here. I want you to watch how it curls up at the last second. See how it begins to curl like that? It begins to get a better tilt at the last second. And that little bit of change right there allows for an enhancement of moisture out the Gulf to right over the Southeast. So if I stop it here, it's like late tomorrow night, and I'm going to back it up, let's say about 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I'm going to back it up to the current run. It's still curling, but I want you to watch how it begins to curl. All the way to the current one. You see how it's like digging just a little bit. This is a better look. We go way back, like almost two days worth of runs ago. Now let's go to the current run. See how it begins to dig? It continues to dig that little southern stream piece of energy. And as it does, it doesn't look like much, but it responds to the surface as more snow back west and more snow and more winter weather also, along the coastal areas. So, folks, that's all I got. We'll do it again tomorrow morning, but that'll be the last video, and we'll just specifically cover the Southeast. I do apologize for leaving a lot of people hanging throughout the rest of the country. I've just kind of left people hanging. Haven't really spoke on anybody. I've seen a couple comments that, are a little upset about it, just as I've kind of skimmed through the comments. At the end of the day, the South is, of course, I'm a little biased to the South because I live here. But this has been an exciting and at some point not exciting. It's sometimes not exciting, of tracking this because there's a potential for my own neck of the woods. And I think people who's been tuning in for any length of time understand that I love snow. So, yeah. So, but that's all I got. Hey, I forgot to mention this, but me and Gerald are going to go live in like under an hour. Now it's going to be a lot more smoother on his end than on mine. But we're going to be answering questions. We're going to go live on his channel. So definitely tune into that and all that good stuff. God bless all y'all. Thank y'all for the support. And we'll do it again tomorrow morning.